Well, the Bible teaches that you start out, after you receive Christ, you start out as a tiny baby. Just a tiny little baby. You're not a full-grown Christian. You walk in church on Sunday morning after receiving Christ, and sometimes some of the Christians will say, I wonder if he's going to last. Wonder if the poor little thing will hold out. You shouldn't do that. You should welcome these new people and love them and encourage them and help them that they might grow. You're supposed to grow, but here's the tragedy in the Christian church today, the terrible tragedy. When my little boy said his first words, he said, Dada. At least I think that's what he said. I was told that's what he was saying. Dada. We were thrilled to death. He had learned to talk. Dada. But suppose 20 years from now he would still come up to me and say, Dada. There'd be something wrong. And yet there are many of you that same way. You haven't grown a bit. You're still going around after 20 years of being a Christian saying, Dada. You've been stunted. You haven't grown. You go to a prayer meeting, and the minister says, well, let's everybody say a verse around. Somebody says John 3:16, you say, oh, she got my verse. That's all you knew. You haven't learned the Bible. And if somebody calls on you to pray, you say, well, I'm sorry, I can't pray. And yet you claim to be a Christian. The Christian life is one of growth. We start out as children, and we grow in the grace and knowledge of Christ. Now, some quick rules. First, the first rule is one in prayer. We have to spend time every day in prayer. The disciples came up to Jesus, and they said, Lord, teach us to pray. Now, you have to learn to walk, don't you? You have to learn to ride a bicycle, don't you? You learn to ride a horse.